Previously on AFTN.
And they do have some guys to replace. Like, did they really replace Garza?
No.
They have a young guy, don't they?
Oh, Breck Shea.
Oh, yeah, Breck. Who gave an interesting interview with The Athletic this week, I believe. I haven't read it because I can't get access to it. But from the quotes that were put out, criticised Robbo for not really wanting to play football. It's like, it's not my fault that we didn't want to play football. Otherwise, I would have scored those open goals.
But he played at Stoke for years. He
Exactly.
hasn't been playing football for ages.
He wasn't able to do it on a Tuesday night in wet Stoke.
Yeah, he wasn't able to do it any day in Stoke.
No. Hi campers, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. I am Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pender.
And it's just a pair of us this week.
Yep.
Zach wanted to come in. I said, no, you're not coming in. He threw his hands up and said, I am coming in. We had a little bit of to and fro.
Yeah.
But unlike Sari, I got my way.
Yeah.
And Zach stayed at home.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't his fault. It was...
No, bit of car trouble.
Yeah. You had car trouble.
I've got car trouble as well. You had to pick me up. So things come in threes. So let's hope we get home in one piece with your car. But we've got a packed show coming up for you. We didn't want to miss out this week. A lot coming up for you, in fact, this week. We're going to bring you a lot of Whitecaps, MLS and Canadian Premier League chat. Also got a couple of really good interviews that we did yesterday with Marc Dos Santos and Fredy Montero. Looking forward to the season to come. And it's 1 week to go, can you believe it? Less than a week to go now, Steve, until the new MLS season kicks off. How would you describe your level of excitement if you were to express it as a fruit?
I would say, I'm going to say a banana, only because it's not spectacular. You don't want to give your hopes up a little bit. You're not sure what you're going to get, but you know it's going to be something.
And a lot of people could maybe slip up along the way as well. Yeah. I was thinking dragon fruit, because like the Whitecaps, nobody really knows what it is. It looks exotic and exciting, but who can tell? There's a lot of unanswered questions about the Whitecaps as we head into the 2019 MLS season. Pre-season games are now done and dusted. Last of those came Saturday night down in LA. 1-0 loss to LAFC. There was no stream. From highlights and sort of tweets that we saw, and from what MDS said post-game, it seemed that the first half was a bit of a struggle. They kind of settled down a little bit to get things going in the second half, but went down to a 1-0 loss, meaning a winless pre-season. Carlos Vela scored with his right foot, making PC not look too great in the process, although...
No, he just came on.
Yeah, and in fairness to PC, he'd been on the pitch just for minutes after Brett Levi's got injured, had to go off. Levi's... We don't know yet what exactly. At first they thought it was possibly a hamstring strain, then they were talking about maybe a muscular problem. So we don't know whether it's a long-term thing, whether it's a short-term thing, if he's even going to be out at all. Maybe it's just a one-game thing, but a little bit worrying.
It is concerning because of his injury history, but And the fact that he was never able to finish games, and this was really a bad thing where he couldn't even finish the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and things were looking up for Brett. I mean, things did look a lot better for him. So we wish him well. We hope it's not a bad injury. PC came on without being warmed up, just was thrown right in the action and was kind of turned a little bit inside out by Vela. So can't maybe read too much into that. Levi's went off with a possible injury. Afterwards, MDS has kind of hinted that he's not maybe overly happy at just having those two players as the left-back options. And if Levi's is out, definitely not happy just having the one player. So we have to assume there's maybe a new left-back coming somewhere along the way.
But is that left back going to come now or later on? Because it seemed like he was set.
The search might be on now.
Yeah, it might
I mean, it did seem like
he
was going to be set. So we'll have to wait and see on that anyway. We threw a question out on Twitter. If you could ask Marc Dos Santos just one question heading into next week's season opener, what would it be? CTV Ryan McLeod, and Talasker both raised concerns about that left-back position. So it has felt that is possibly the weakest link from the Whitecaps depth chart if you look at it right now.
Yeah. Oh, it was kind of the weakest part going even with Levi's fully healthy in a way. I think it's gotten weaker because of the fact that PC's not a natural left back. He's a left back in what Dos Santos wants as a left back, an attacking one, but he's not a natural one. So, and we saw, obviously Vela was, he gave up the goal to Vela, but the rest of the game, it wasn't too bad, it seems like, because they didn't let a goal after that. So maybe it's a thing where he just wasn't ready to come on when he came on, and it got away from him.
Possibly. But 5 pre-season matches, 2 draws, 3 defeats, 2 goals for, 6 goals against. I think it's pretty fair to say that pre-season wasn't ideal. How much stock we can put into any of those games, considering the late arrival of key players, the fact there was a bunch of development guys in Hawaii, stuff like that, I don't know. I don't think we can read too much into what happened at all.
It's hard to say because there have been times when they played really well in the preseason, and then it ends up being shambles during the season. So
yeah, that's true.
It's hard to tell. It could be that it's just going to be a work in progress, and they just haven't got that final touch. Chemistry, like we said before, is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario for me is that if they're not able to get results, they're not able to get goals, that hurt the confidence of the team, and they keep second guessing themselves as the season goes on.
Yeah, we're over the next little bit, we're going to look at the lack of goals. We're going to look at the fact they have worked a lot on the defensive side of things, and Marc Dos Santos is very honest and says that the offensive game is not where he wants it to be, partly due to those late arrivals. There's probably not too many people that are really, really happy with how the pre-season has gone. How has it prepared us for the start of the season? Well, we've got a chance to ask Marc Dos Santos a few of those things and a lot more besides. In a chat that I had with him on Saturday night, we're going to bring you that interview in 2 parts. Part 1 coming up now, and then part 2 will bring you in part 3 of tonight's show. Just discussing just how pre-season has gone and how the team is looking as we run up to first kick. So here's Marc Dos Santos. I guess just to start, that's the pre-season match is over. How are you feeling about the team now going into first kick next weekend?
Look, do I feel that we needed a little bit maybe more time in our preparation and in pre-season? Yes, I do, of course, because we had a lot of players just arriving in the last week of pre-season, like Kimiri, Inbaum, Ardais, Godoy arrived limit right now, and Fredy just arrived Thursday night. He trained Friday, and he got 45 minutes today. So do I feel that maybe another week would be ideal? Yes, but at the end of the day, I think that we have to go. We understand that there was a big change in the roster, and and we're excited to get started right now.
You talked about this a little bit before you headed off to LA, about you were kind of surprised that the group had bought into the system and bought into the process so quickly. From what you've seen so far, has it kind of exceeded your expectations?
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. We played the 3 very difficult exhibition games, playing the LA Galaxy at StubHub, playing LAFC at Bank of California, playing a club like Tijuana. We tied 0-0 with the Galaxy. We tied 1-1 with Tijuana. We lost 1-0 today against LAFC. So we were very close in every single game. We were able to connect the guys together. We were able to start pretty much the process with the roster that would be the closest one to the MLS. So am I pleased with everything that's been done? Yes, of course that I'm a competitor and I want to win all the time, but I like to go back and be realistic and see, okay, where we're at today with the amount of changes and the players that just arrived now. I'm quite surprised and pleased in the direction that we're going.
Talking about being realistic, obviously a lot can happen in MLS and games are unpredictable, but it does feel that it's probably still going to be another few weeks before the guys have maybe fully meshed and you've got who you really see as your starters in the lineup. How long do you think it'll take before you've got a team that's really up and running and playing the way that you want with the personnel that you want?
Yeah, it's fair. Your question is very fair. But for me to be able, and if you would put yourself in my position, for me to give you a benchmark, a date, a time, would be very immature from my part, or something that I'm not able to do right now. But I could tell you this: was I excited to have a guy like Eric Godoy playing 30 minutes against Tijuana and another 30 minutes today and at a very good level, to have Inbaum playing the first 30 minutes against LAFC and did very, very well in the 30 minutes he came in, to finally have Fredy playing 45 minutes, to have Venuto that played against Tijuana his first minutes and now, or against the Galaxy his first minutes, and now Tijuana, and again a little bit against LAFC. That's for me what's important, and now we have to keep that group together and keep working going forward. Look, even if it's a new group, even if it's new players that arrived at very different dates, I'm still very, very confident that in the locker room we have what it takes to show up on March 2nd.
Talking about a couple of those recent arrivals, and this is the first chance I've had a chance to speak to you since Fredy arrived. Mm-hmm. What is it about Fredy Montero that he was the guy that you decided you wanted to be your main striker this year?
Yeah, no, it's not only about Fredy. It's about also Joaquin Ardaiz. Everything is connected. We knew we wanted to bring Ardaiz in, a young player with a lot of potential, and then we said, if Ardaiz is coming in, the other forward cannot be a forward that is also young and a forward that doesn't know the league. So then when we thought about Fredy and the opportunity of Fredy coming in, and Fredy, he wanted to come back, Fredy wanted to play for this team, then we said, okay, now we have Joaquin Ardaiz, a young player with a great upside, a player that could grow in the club, and now we're bringing Fredy Montero that is an older player compared with Joaquin, is a player that knows the league, is a player that knows the club. So the mix between Ardaiz and Montero, that's what makes it interesting for us.
I spoke to Fredy this morning, and I asked him about the Portuguese season's been ongoing since about August, and then he's coming here. This season's potentially going to run until November if the team goes far. Do you have a concern? He didn't have any, but do you have any concerns at all that he might need a bit of a rest at some point over the season? Because that's over a full year.
Yeah, we thought about that, but that's why Ardais is here also, right?
Right, yeah.
I think it's impossible for a forward today in the MLS that it's a little bit more condensed. I'll give you an example. In the month of May, we have 7 games. It's impossible for one number 9 to take care of all the business. How I see it, that's why I have such a rough time isolating players and just thinking or talking about one player. I have to think in the full picture. And when I look at Montero, I also look at Ardais, I also look at Jordi, Las, Lucas, and then I say, okay, with these 5 players, with Theo Bear being still a player in development that could grow, with these players, we have to have enough that tactically we adapt to confront all these months with a lot of games. So I would be concerned, to be honest with you, if we would be talking about Fredy Montero playing 90 minutes every game during the season. Then, yes, there would be a little bit of a concern on my side. But now when I look at what Joaquin Ardais could bring, what Lucas, Las, Jordi could bring, well, it reassures me much more. So that's why I don't think Fredy has to be concerned with that.
Part 1 there of our chat with Marc Dos Santos that we had on Saturday night. It was a late one, 10:15. We ended up speaking to Marc. We were both quite awake for that. I think it was quite good.
You probably had a cappuccino or something like
Probably. I've got to say, now, I know Kyle Robinson, some folk liked him, some folk didn't. With Robbo and with Marc Dos Santos, we've been very fortunate here in Vancouver in that we've had 2 coaches that are prepared to sit down, not just with us, but I mean, we've been really lucky we've been able to sit down with these guys and have really lengthy chats, but 2 coaches that are prepared to sit and go into detail.
Yeah.
We talked about the chalk talk that Dos Santos did with media just before they headed off to LA. It's great to have these guys that actually want to sit and talk about football and share their knowledge and help grow the game.
And Robbo did the same thing.
Yeah, and I know that's part of their job, but it's great to have had these 2 coaches that do that.
Yeah, and Robbo's wasn't as advertised as it was with the chalk talk and everything. Everybody knew about that.
But Robbo had a lot of lengthy discussions with media off record, just explaining things that he was doing and stuff like that as well. So I think we have been very fortunate here with these coaches that we've had. There's a lot of pressure on Marc Dos Santos. A lot of people think he's like the chosen one and they're expecting him to do wonders and work wonders with the team. And we might be surprised.
The reason why he's got a track record.
Yeah.
But those are at lower leagues. Although I think the most impressive one out of all of them, probably the Brazilian one, the U15 championship he won.
He did so well there.
Yeah, so
I think though what he did with San Francisco as well was fantastic to win a championship with a brand new expansion team.
But he wasn't called like, I don't know, I can't remember what he was called by the Brazilian people that were against him coaching, like a donkey or something. I can't remember what they call it. It was something like that, like a Canadian. And then something derogatory.
Oh,
he told us that too. That they weren't very happy with the fact that he was coaching in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I might be wrong, and it might be a faster start to the season than I'm thinking. But I kind
of disagree with you there. I think it's going to be a slow start.
Yeah,
I do think it's going to be a slow start, but they build up. Like there's been a lot of teams that have slow starts and then build up into.
Oh yeah, and I think MLS has shown over the last couple of seasons, it doesn't necessarily matter how much you do early on. It's like, can you finish strong and get those points to get over?
You need that long spurt of like magic where you have a multiple wins in a row.
Ultimately, you just have to get into the postseason, and then it's a whole different ballgame after that. But how patient will the fans in Vancouver be if this does take a few weeks to mesh, maybe even a couple of months to fully mesh?
Oh, a couple of months, the patience will run out at that point. Even in the first few weeks, even if they win a couple games in the first 3-4 weeks, there'll still be grumbling going on.
Well, you're kind of already seeing some online.
Nobody wants to trust it because they've fallen for it before.
True.
Like last year was supposed to be the greatest team ever assembled in Whitecaps.
Yeah.
That wasn't
the Alphonso Davies money is also kind of like a weight around their neck because everyone's expecting them to go and hit the ground running because they've got all this money to spend. And it doesn't look like this money has been spent yet because so many of these are loan deals.
Yeah, I think eventually they will get spent, but you have it's obvious to most people that summer is the best time to buy. Like
way more availability.
Maybe way more availability. It might not be for the actual team because you're in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
but it is for if you want quality. It is the best time to buy.
As I said, we've already seen some grumbles on Twitter and the Southside's forum. I mean, there are some genuine concerns, though, and one of them, we alluded to earlier in the show, is the scoring aspect of the side, or the lack of it. Yeah. The 2 goals that we've had have both been by defenders, David Norman and PC. So we haven't seen our attackers fully flowing. But we also haven't really seen our attackers because...
It's only been 45 minutes, basically.
Yeah, Montero and Ardaiz just arrived... Ardaiz just arrived on Thursday. Huang arrived as well. Montero and Huang and Bohm, however you want to refer to him, have had limited minutes. Montero started against LAFC. Huang came on at the 62nd minute mark.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen a lot of these players, Ardaiz as well. We're going to bring you the second part of Marc Dos Santos in part 3, but we're going to talk to Fredy Montero next, and there is a lot of pressure on Fredy Montero to perform. He knows that. He's ready for that. Let's see what he had to say after the break.
Hi, I'm Carl Valentine. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
The Monkeys, For Pete's Sake. That was a song that was used in the closing credits of the second season of the Monkeys.
Yeah.
So one of their most heard songs, really, if you think about it.
For Pete's Sake is the name of the song, too.
Yes.
Yeah, you should.
I should say it.
Yeah.
For Pete's Sake, written by
Peter
the
Tork.
late Peter Tork. Yeah. Died this week, sadly, aged 77. Had suffered from a rare cancer.
Okay.
Since 2009.
Oh, but he kept going through it. Yeah,
so I kind of... This was complications from it. It seems to have been...
I think he's toured since then, too.
Oh, yeah,
so he was touring during the whole thing.
I saw him 2 years ago here in Vancouver at the PNE.
Yeah.
Him and Mickey Dolenz. And it was great. They belted out the songs. It was a fantastic show up at the PNE.
Yeah.
I know you're a big Monkeys fan. I've always loved the Monkeys.
I've watched their show when I was younger. Like I watched it probably later than you because I didn't watch it when it originally was on.
I didn't either. I watched the reruns.
Oh, did you?
Okay. In the 60s. No, I wasn't born.
Well, I thought it came on in the 70s.
No, this was like 2 seasons in the 60s.
Oh, okay. Then I don't remember that. I watched it in the 80s when it was on Much Music. When Much Music played mostly music, but they would show the Monkeys regularly.
I've got the 2 seasons on DVD. I really need to dig those out and start watching it again. That song was written by Peter Tork. Yeah. Didn't sing that. He didn't sing a lot of the songs.
I have a song coming up that will be one of his.
So that'll be a good one.
Yeah, this one was Mickey Dolenz. I think Dolenz and Michael are the last ones, right?
Yes, they are. Because Davy Jones died a couple of years ago. He died when I was down in Orlando for the Mickey Mouse tournament in 2012.
Okay.
So I always remember that because we got back to the hotel and it was on the TV and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We're getting older.
We are. Vancouver's own little cheeky monkey, though, Fredy Montero, he's back. He saw his first action in a Whitecaps jersey since that playoff loss in Seattle in 2017. And it's been all changed since then. Because I had a look at the starting lineup and the starting game day 11. I think we mentioned this last week. Only 2 players, Jordy Reyna, Jake Nerwinski.
Yeah.
They're the only ones still around from that game day 18 and that Seattle loss.
Oh, wow.
So it's a whole new environment for Montero that he's coming into. He played the first half against LAFC last night. MDS said after the game, it was more about giving him the run out, getting some fitness, just getting him out on the pitch more than what he did.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like he had a lot of service or a lot of things to do, but he only joined up with the team on Thursday, as did Ardaiz. That's far from ideal, and I know we've talked about this before, we've talked about this tonight, but it's true, it isn't ideal. It hasn't been a great pre-season preparation. Now, we've seen him get this run out. He's about to tell us that he's fully fit and ready to go, and we play an interview with him shortly. Do you see him getting the start against Minnesota, or is that too big a risk?
If they started him against LAFC and played him 45 minutes, I don't see why they couldn't start him, play him maybe 60 minutes through, see how he is during training this week.
And then maybe even move Reyna up front.
Yeah, for the last, or maybe Ardaiz, if he's ready to go, he can play 20 minutes or something. You never know. So it is a possibility that they could see him play more.
He hasn't played much since November. We talked about that last week. He'd had a couple of injuries on and off, because we talked about the weird thing on Transfer Market that said it was a slight ligament break or something.
Yeah.
So I asked Fredy about that and a few other things. Got a chance to speak with Fredy on Saturday morning down in LA. He's super excited to be back. He's fit, ready to go. Here's what he had to say.
Champagne glass.
First thing really to ask you, Fredy, when did you first learn that Vancouver were wanting to bring you back over here?
Well, my agent, I would say my agent told me that at the beginning of January, told me that it may be an interest from Vancouver. And I heard the news, and I didn't want to push anything. I knew I still have 6 more months of contract with Sporting. And I told him, like, okay, keep working on whatever you're talking to, and then let me know when something really close come up. And that's it.
So you didn't really have any plans to leave Sporting then at this time. Had they offered you anything, or had they talked about what was going to happen after your contract was up there?
I have 1 more year option, actually 2 more years option by the club, but we didn't talk about that until the day that I get the news from my agent. So for me, it was like, should I wait? Because I don't know, maybe they are waiting to finish the season and see what's going to happen. And I didn't want to wait that long. And Vancouver is a city that I know. My family feels comfortable here. We love the city. We love our year here. And it wasn't that difficult to keep up and talking and asking questions about this opportunity that was coming up with Vancouver.
Now, the time you spent in Vancouver, you had your best ever MLS season here. You've played a lot of games with Sporting. You've played in the Europa League. You've done well there. What are you hoping to bring back to MLS this third time around?
Well, the year in Vancouver was good. Obviously, I know my value. I know that I can score goals. I can be a playmaker. I can assist. And at my age, I don't think I have nothing to prove. I just want to add plus or of my experience, my game to the young guys, to the new group that is coming along really well. And hopefully in 2 years we had the opportunity to lift a trophy. That's the main goal, is trying to build this championship mentality where the club can start like doing the process of being a club in MLS that any player would like to come here and play.
Now, talking about the deal you've got here, when you were here the last time, obviously it was just a 1 year loan and things didn't happen that were able to keep you here, but now you've got a 2 year deal. How important was that for you to have a little bit of stability at least this time around?
Yes, you're right. This time it wasn't about the money. 2 year deal, which I'm thankful to Vancouver Whitecaps organization for giving me that opportunity to come back, and 2 years are going to give me stability. My family and I were looking for that, and obviously I'm happy to get it. It's going to be a fun year, I'm pretty sure, with the new strategy, new coach, a new objective, and trying to, as I said before, win a trophy in Canada, try to make the playoff and keep advancing, because that's what we're looking for. We're working hard on that.
Now, you're coming into a team where there's not a lot of striking options. We've got the young Theo Bair, and we've got Joaquin Ardez that's come in. I know you've just arrived, but from what you've seen, do you feel that firepower is enough to carry the Whitecaps, or do you feel there might be extra pressure on you now to kind of perform because there isn't a lot of other options there?
Yeah, the extra pressure or whatever is coming up to me, I'm ready to face it. I know that I can help the team, and I believe that the players that are here, all of them are competing for one spot. And when you have competition in a team, you know that everybody's going to be always in the 100% in training. And in the game, it's going to be more easy when you have these teammates that are always pushing you, And if you play this game, you know that you need to continue showing that into practice to get your spot for the next game. And that's what the coach is trying to do. And that's the message that I get when I just first arrived here. The competition is going to be there.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, you had been playing over in Portugal, but you had, according to one of the websites, you had a slight injury towards the end of the year, start of this year. Do you have any concerns coming into the season, coming into the camp so late, or are you fully fit and ready to go right now?
Yeah, if you see that the Portuguese league is halfway, and obviously I got the injury that slowed me down, and I had to be out for 15 days first, and then I was out for another 10 days, and I've been fully training the past 3 weeks, so that's not worrying me. I know that within a week or so I'm gonna be ready to help the team. I believe that we're gonna start the season the best that we can, and of course we need to believe in the process. It's gonna be a long year. We're gonna have to play a lot of games, and the players are ready for what is coming.
Talking about it being a long year for you yourself as well, because obviously the season started back around August over in Portugal, and then you're going to be playing non-stop really for over a season, going through to October or November in MLS. Your body ready for that?
Yeah, if my body's not ready, I'm going to make it ready. So I know what is coming. I know that especially playing middle week games, it's going to be tough. But I trust in the group of trainers. I trust in the medical staff that are going to do anything in their power to have us comfortable and being 100% for every game.
and also the games are going to be managed by the coach, and he knows what players are available and what players are going to be playing like continuous game during the week. But I mean, at this point, we don't know. We don't know if the season is going to start. Maybe in 3-4 months we're going to start seeing that. But at the moment, I just want to tell you that I'm happy to be back and I'm excited to start the season.
When you were here in 2017, the kind of system that Carl Robinson played, it didn't fully suit your style of game, but yet you performed so well and you had such a fantastic season. Marc Dos Santos has come in, he's got the new process, he's got the new systems and tactics. His style of play seems to suit you absolutely fantastically. Is that one of the things that made you really want to come back, seeing what Marc Dos Santos wants to do with this team?
Yes, that was one of the things when I spoke to the coach before I was making any decision, which motivated me to even push harder to come back to Vancouver. I think the style that he is trying to show, or he's trying to establish here in Vancouver Whitecaps, it's a Portuguese style, which I know perfectly, and I know that I can do that well. I play under 30-something games in Sporting. I scored 46 goals, so I know that I'm ready, and hopefully all of these, I know the team has like 4 or 5 weeks of training together, but the most important is March 2nd when we start the season, and then that's a game for 3 points. So at the moment it's just to try to know my teammates, but during the season it's going to be different. It's going to be battling, fighting for a spot in the team and trying to win the games.
Just the very last thing, I just wanted to ask you about the coffee shop that you opened with some friends in Seattle. What was behind that? What made you decide to go into that business? And do you have any plans of opening one in Vancouver now?
Well, it's a perfect match. We have very good friends, which they are coffee lovers as well. My wife, I had the opportunity to meet her in Seattle, and I think the project that we're doing is bringing the coffee from Colombia. And I would love to prove the concept that we have in mind in Seattle. And then if obviously everything goes well, we're going to be open for any future project here in Vancouver. Why not? We would love to.
That's great. Good luck with that. Good luck back at the Whitecaps. And thanks for your time this morning, Fredy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Talk to you soon.
Good night.
The sounds of Blur there with Coffee and TV. And the intro song was another one by Madness, our Artist of the Month from January. Drip Fed Fred. Okay. Just seems perfect for him.
That does work.
But, yes, Coffee and TV. Fredy Montero there, talking about his coffee shop that he is opening in Seattle with some friends. I hope he opens one here. I'm a big coffee fan.
Yeah, you can make it a Whitecaps theme too if you want.
Yes, I've been working on pitching some ideas to him. Have some Whitecaps themed coffee.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to have lots of Colombian beans. He
said he's importing from Colombia. Yeah.
Now, if Zach was here, I'm pretty sure he would go for a coffee just called the Colombian.
Yeah.
It's like made for Fredy just to bring out a Colombian coffee, or a Fredy effing Montero special coffee roast, something like that. But there's so many things he could do if he wanted to. Obviously, white cappuccino, that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
A flat white cap in honour of those 2 games against Seattle in the playoffs in 2017, the last 2 matches that he played here. McMathiato.
That works.
That's definitely one. And everyone you get a French press. Everyone, all the trendy hipster coffee shops have that. I think we should have a Portuguese press.
Yeah, because the press is the system.
Yes, because that's obviously how we're going to be playing.
Yeah.
Current players could get on board as well. Jasser Kamiri, he could have a special Turkish coffee. Johnny Risse, he could have a Spanish latte. But I mean, some old guys as well. Bring Christian Teixeira back. Have a Christian Teixeira espresso. Small, lively, goes down well. Eric Cortado. I mean, that's made to one for that as well.
Yeah.
Gershon Coffee.
That was an obvious
Yeah.
one. I have a couple too. If you're not into coffee too much, you can always have a Russell T-Bird.
Oh, yes. That would be a nice one.
You can have a cup of Joe Cannon.
Oh, nice.
Robusto.
Oh.
Robo.
I thought Marco Bustos.
No, I think Robo.
Oh.
So Robusto.
Robo is bust.
Or a Mocantero. Mocantero. Fredy Montero.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just try to stretch it a little.
That works.
Yeah.
If you've got any other Whitecaps related coffee ones, let us know. Send us a tweet at AFTN Canada. We'll maybe include it. Might even do a special starting 11. We haven't done one of those for a while. Whitecaps coffee starting 11.
Or MLS coffee too.
Yeah, I've done one of those before, I think.
Oh, have you?
It seems to ring a bell. Anyway, back to what he actually said. He's excited to be back. He talked about the stability of having that 2-year deal. It's not about the money this time. He wanted that stability. He wants to win a championship here. And he knows he's one of the elder statesmen, if you like, in the squad. And I think he's going to really thrive in that role.
I agree too. I think it's basically his team. And I know MDS has a certain view of what a captain is. I don't know. I can't remember if Montero fits that role or not, but he would be a good candidate.
I think he would be.
At least initially, until they figure out what they actually want from a captain.
Or Johnny Ricci. His English is coming along.
Yeah.
I like a midfielder to be a captain.
Yeah, because
they can get all
they're
over.
almost the field general, if you think.
And Ricci's another
another
elder statesman off the squad as well. So I mean, he would be good as well. We talked there though. The Portuguese season, Montero has been playing since August. He did have that little bit of injury, so at least he has had a bit of a break during kind of December and January.
Yeah.
But going August to hopefully November, if the Whitecaps make the postseason, we don't know how far, but are you any concerns that he might burn himself out?
I do have concerns, only because we have recent information about Pedro Morales, because he kind of was in the similar situation where he started the season in Spain, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started the season in Spain.
That's the thing. You get these guys that come over mid-European season.
Yeah.
Then you're asking them to play a full MLS season.
And it's not even about the number of games you play. Because even if you're like not playing that many minutes or you're injured or something, you're still in football mode because you're around the training and everything. You don't get away. And I think that can strain somebody as much as just playing all the time too. Because you're always in the football mode, it's always on your mind and everything like that. Sometimes you need a week or two break or a month or two.
Games are going to come thick and fast. MDS talked about the 7 games in May, for example.
Yeah.
But this is why you have got Joaquin Ardiaz, and MDS has talked very highly about him. And I think this isn't going to be another Anthony Blundell situation. We're going to actually see Ardiaz on the pitch. We're going to see him integrated a lot earlier, minutes off the bench, giving Fredy a bit of a rest.
See, the big difference between Blundell and Ardiaz is Ardiaz has already hit bottom. Blundell hit bottom last year because he thought he was going to just jump in and score goals for the Whitecaps. He maybe took it a little too lightly, the amount of work it would take, and he's hit bottom. Now he's gone off, and so he's kind of trying to rebound. We got what Blundell's trying to do with Ardiaz because he kind of flattened out, and now he's trying to rebound here.
His career plateaued a little bit, so he's trying to build himself up.
And he has way more of a ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, he looks a great prospect.
Yeah, you like the neck tattoos?
I love that whole look.
His outfit was like all like his shoes. I wasn't sure if he had platforms on his shoes or something to make him look taller.
I thought he was a wrestler.
Yeah, he looked rough.
He looked like he'd fit into Ring of Honor or AEW or something like that. Goals are clearly a concern, though. 2 in the pre-season, as we talked about. They were both from defenders. As we heard, MDS just told us that they haven't had a chance to work on the stuff that they would have liked defensively. They've had at least a couple of days together in LA, and you're going to have this week here in the build-up to the home opener. It does feel, though, that it's maybe going to be a slog initially. we're going to play some exciting football, especially at home. I just think fans maybe need to temper those expectations. I can't see these goals flowing fast and furious during March. And I hope I'm wrong, but I do feel March is going to be a tougher slog than anyone really wants. But I think we have to be realistic about that.
Yeah, because I think the only 2 goals that can come from, like we said, David Norman and PC, who are both considered defenders at this point. So maybe they're saving up all their goals for the regular season.
Maybe. Let's hope so. And I hope we're wrong and we have to eat our words and we're sitting top of the West come the end of March. But we're going to get back to chatting with the second part of our Marc Dos Santos interview as he gets ready for that first kick opener against Minnesota. And we'll be back with that after this.
Hi, I'm Marc Dos Santos and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
I just get a bit fidgety times. Thumbs twiddle in the middle of a fun fair. Hijinks to break up the so-so. Me thinks we need a little ho-ho-ho. Go! Earl's Court. A bag of rivets with a goon at the entrance. Straight ways, the floor gets slippery. Eyes glaze and Bobby's getting jittery. Don't tease him, it don't please him. Watch that, you want me to appease him? How so, sir? With Tetris? Not possible, didn't bring the game board. Took problem chin to the ideal home show once in a while. I need these childish kicks. Took problem chin to the ideal home show. Godspeed the trial to cite my childish kicks.
Half Man, Half Biscuit are Artists of the Month for February. Sadly, their last song of the month. But don't worry, they will feature in Wavelength in future months to come.
I'm sure they'll make a return to the
yes.
Artist of the Month.
Yeah, possibly. So many songs I could have picked. But I went with Took Problem Chimp to the Ideal Home Show from their CSI Ambleside album. Nothing to do with Ambleside in West Van. I just always wanted a pet chimp when I was a kid. Or an orangutan. I love orangutans as well. Yeah,
that's good.
That's why I married Caitlin. It's the red hair.
Oh.
But you are listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio, 101.9 FM. Back for part 3. Back for part 2 of our Marc Dos Santos chat. No need to do too much introduction for that. Let's hand it off to MDS.
As you mentioned, Bohm got his first minutes today against LAFC. I know you've not had a lot of time to look at him in the camp yet, but what have you seen from him in just these first couple of days?
Yeah, what I've seen from him is what I've seen in the games that I watched and what I've seen in the national team. He just confirms the type of player he is. He's very gifted technically. He finds spaces, he finds passes that very few midfielders in MLS are going to find. He's very different when it comes to his dynamic, for his first touch, his last pass. Vancouver has to be very, very proud that we got a player like him.
Now, defensively, the team... It's given up a few goals, but it's looked quite solid defensively. I mean, the first game, I know you had 2 different lineups out there, but since then, it's like very few goals given up.
When you look at Hawaii, for me, it's not a benchmark. It's unfair to judge the team with Hawaii because there was so many development squad players in it and so many changes. People have to judge the team since we started arriving in LA. So against the Galaxy 0-0, against Tijuana, we conceded a goal and a free kick. So in the run of play, we didn't concede. It was really in a direct free kick. Then against LAFC today, Brett Levis gets injured. He comes out. PC didn't have time to warm up because it was an emergency sub. He got to come in right away, and then the first play is involved. He's in a 1v1 situation with Carlos Vela that scored. So in 3 games here in LA, playing at Starbucks, playing at Bank of California, only conceding 2 goals, showing in big parts being solid defensively, that's true. That is a very good sign. Now, of course, we didn't have time to work on offensive dynamics, be a little bit more in some things that I don't like offensively. Sometimes we're taking too much time on the ball. There's too much dribble, too much 1v1 happening. We could release the ball quicker. But again, players like Lucas just arrived now. Fredy arrived on Thursday night. Ardais arrived on Thursday night. You're talking about all offensive players that only trained Friday. So we need to grow there, and we're aware of that, and we're not going to hide from that. But I'm happy with our becoming solid defensively. It's a start. It's a platform towards growing as a team.
The Western Conference this year, how are you seeing it shaping out? Who do you feel are going to be the main title contenders in the West, or do you think it's wide open? Because a lot of the teams that maybe didn't make the playoffs last year have made some quite big additions.
Yeah, it's a very tough division. LAFC, teams like LAFC, LA Galaxy, Sporting Kansas City, Portland that reached the final last year, Seattle that won the MLS Cup 3 years ago, are always going to be teams in the mix. But we don't hide, and we're not shy about admitting our objectives. We have to admit them, and we don't want to be shy about them because that's what holds us accountable. We want to be in the top 7 at the end of the season. So where's that going to be? We don't know. Is it going to be 7th, 3rd, 1st? We don't know. But we're working towards trying to be in the top 7 at the end of the season.
Just the last thing, and I'm not meaning this in a kind of, what kind of result are you expecting? But what are you expecting from next week, like from a personal level? How's it going to feel leading a team out in MLS for the first time?
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about leading the team in MLS, to be very honest with you. I'm thinking about leading the Vancouver Whitecaps on March 2nd. What shocked me in a good and positive way is how the people love this club. Vancouver likes the club. The people want the club to do well. They're behind the club. It's just good to every game have an average of 20,000 people supporting us, and I feel a big load of responsibility towards that. So more than just leading an MLS team on March 2nd, I'm just excited to lead the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's a big opportunity. I've been enough in North American soccer to understand the type of pressure and the type of commitment that I see from fans or even from media. I think media in Canada in soccer, like Montreal, Toronto, or even Vancouver, are more passionate. And I don't know how you want to write this out, but it's just comparing with what I saw in LA or comparing with what I saw in Kansas City, and I feel that responsibility. So I'm just proud to March 2nd to have the opportunity to lead a team like the Vancouver Whitecaps.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Marc. Have a safe...
It's a pleasure. Don't worry about it.
Safe trip home, and I'll see you at training next week.
Yes. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Marc.
Bye-bye.
Nightcap with a Whitecap there.
Yeah, late at night.
Yeah, Marc Dos Santos. Lot of good stuff from him in the chats that we've had there. In this part, like we looked at the attack in part 2. So I want to look a little bit at the defence now for the rest of this part, and just how the team is sitting going into the first kick this coming weekend. The defence is kind of looking solid, at least. If you kind of take the Hawaiian trip out of it, which he does want us to do, and focus on those LA games. Because he feels the Hawaiian trip, without saying it, basically, if you read between the lines of that and other interviews he's done, it wasn't his choice to go. It was already pre-booked.
Yeah.
Not saying it was a complete waste of time, but
I think he probably feels that the travel was unnecessary. Like if he could do the same stuff here, although he would have. I don't know how much training he would have got with the weather the way it was.
And you can't get into BC Place because they've got all the trade shows. So I mean, there's stuff like that as well. But if you do just focus on the 3 LA games, it was a 0-0 draw with the Galaxy, a 1-0 draw with Tijuana, and their goal came off a free kick, and a 1-0 loss to LAFC, which really came about
after
because of the Levi's injury. Yeah. So 2 goals given up, only 1 scored, but 2 goals given up. So the defence, at least, I talked about my concern that we hadn't seen a massive overhaul of the defence that I would maybe have liked, considering how we performed last year, and then 2 of the new additions are from an even worse defence in Orlando. But it feels tighter. It just feels a bit better. Whether that is down to the better midfield players in front of them or just a better understanding. But it's tough to know until we see it in a real competitive situation. It feels a little bit better than last year.
It does, but and I agree with you. I think it's mostly the midfield. If you improve the midfield and they're helping out the defense, I think you're better off. And they know their roles now. Now that left back is not going to be worrying about the left winger coming back to help him out. He'll get help from the midfielder instead. So I think that helps. I do think that it looks solid, but like we said with our attack, the Whitecaps attack, they're not getting the chemistry. Maybe the other teams don't have the same chemistry as well yet. And so you have to be cautious about saying that they look solid right now, because like you said, once it gets competitive, once people get more
it's a whole different thing.
A whole different thing on
and
March
some
2nd.
Teams just click, and when it's a season opener, your adrenaline's running through. The team that we saw out to start that LAFC game was probably the team that you would have expected to see start against Minnesota. Obviously, the Brett Levi's injuries maybe throwing a little bit of a spanner into the work there. But I think that probably is going to be our starting 11 if Montero is good to go.
Yeah.
What that means is it looks like Zach McMath has won the goalkeeping battle. He seemed to have produced a number of top saves in that LAFC game as well. I have a feeling we might need him to do the same against Minnesota and the likes of Darwin Quintero next Saturday. But it does look like right now McMath is the number 1.
Yeah, look, I think like we said, and he's got the experience of MLS. While he hasn't played very much, he still has been with an MLS team. He knows the players and everything. I think Kripo could eventually overtake him.
I think he might.
Yeah, eventually once he gets his feet wet, because he spent all last year in USL. So so.
If you look at the back line that's played a lot of these preseason games, it looks like it's going to be McMath, Nerwinski, Henry, Cornelius, and probably Gyro now to start the season off, whilst the other ones kind of find their feet. Big surprise this week, which I hadn't seen anywhere, was that Jasser Kamiri had a meniscus tear.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about that either. It wasn't reported anywhere.
That's a risk signing a player that is untested at this level and has a really serious injury.
But they got the medical reports. Their doctors have seen it. They know. They'll tell them exactly where they are. Normally, these kind of things are listed on the transfer market website. And it wasn't listed for him. But he was a brand new, almost like a unknown player for them as well.
Yeah,
so
very true. There wasn't a lot really anywhere online on him. But the centre of defence, it looks like it's going to be Henry and Cornelius to start. Godoy got some minutes against Tijuana, got a couple of minutes against LAFC as well. I expect to take the starting role
over one of them.
But if Cornelius starts the season strongly with Henry, they've got that chemistry, they've got that understanding. I mean, you might end up just going with those two, and then just Godoy will come in when there's absences for international games or whatever. So although Hawaii does feel to a large extent a bit of a waste of time, we saw some guys from the development thing get minutes. We got a look at them.
Yep.
Some performed better than others. Maybe some didn't want you to have a look at them. But at least on the defensive side, they've had some chemistry. That back five, they've had time together. They've built an understanding. A lot of work. Zach McMath referred to when he was back in Vancouver before they went to LA. They've worked hard to get that chemistry going and to build out of the back.
Yeah, and the
so
communication
at least that's a solid
and everything.
base from, if nothing else.
I understand.
So that's a positive looking and going into next week.
And that's the biggest thing is when a backline and the goalkeeper can work together, it makes a big difference and if they're on the same page. Like last year you had, I think they were okay, but then the Marinovic injury happened, and then it kind of put everything off kilter a little.
Yeah. And you had Kendall going away in the summer for a big chunk for the World Cup and stuff like that as well. A couple of other concerns, if you look at that going into the season as a whole, it's quite a short team. Last year it kind of felt like the team of giants. This year it's a lot of shorter players.
A lot of short players.
Everybody
looks like Chichera.
Yeah.
Especially up front.
At least they're a little bit bigger. I'm going to feel really tall at training. It's going to be great. But MDS kind of referred this a little bit when he had his chalk talk, that defending set pieces could be a bit of a challenge. And that's a challenge that they have to find a way around. Because obviously if there's a lot of balls coming into the box, you have to deal with that. And if you've got short players, it's not always ideal to deal with that. Last year, we had Kai Kamara coming back to help out. This year, you've got Fredy Montero up there, who's not going to be as menacing a threat in the box to clear these headers. The goal we gave up against Tijuana was from a free kick.
Yeah.
So set pieces, defending corners, free kicks could be a little bit of a concern. Equally, though, I think at the other end, I don't think we're going to be as dominant of set pieces as we had during the Robbo era. There doesn't really seem a lot of guys. Maybe Cornelius and Henry's your guys, but apart from that, I don't think we're going to get a lot of high balls put into the box.
No, I agree with that. I think they're going to have to do like a lot of short corners, a lot of shiftiness up front. So I think we're going to have to see how they act. My one concern is the zonal marking on defense.
Also not had time to work too much on offensive dynamics, as Marc Dos Santos said there. Now, can that be done in a week? Should we be expecting more of the same in this home opener? There's so many questions going into this. What are you expecting from Saturday's game against Minnesota? For me, I'd be happy to come out of that with a draw, I think. If we get anything more than a draw, definitely. You want to win your home games, but I'm not going into it hopeful. So I think that's good, because if I've got low expectations, I'm hoping I leave with those vastly exceeded.
Yeah, because he says he wants to go all out on home games.
Yeah.
And I don't know how
that's a worry for me right now.
Because I feel like if they do that, they'll leave themselves open for like counterattacks or the opposition.
You're playing a team with, as I said, the likes of Quintero in there. So I mean, that's going to be a bit of a concern.
So yeah, if they can deal with that, then I have no problem with it. But it'd be interesting to see where they because you also got Montero who's up top, and like we said, we're not sure how many minutes he'll be able to play. Do you really want to have him pressing all over the place? And
because the thing, if he goes off, you move Reina up to the striker, then you're probably bringing
really
Venuto on, and then Venuto also hasn't had a lot of time pre-season either, or you bring Ardays on, who hasn't had time either. It's a very young squad that we have. The average age is 24.8. Transfer Market kind of listed like comparisons for age and money that was spent and all these things. So our average age of 24.8 is the fourth youngest in MLS. Dallas is the youngest at 24.1, so we're not even too far off that.
Yeah, that makes sense for them.
And we're going into the home opener now against the oldest squad in MLS, Minnesota, at 27.2, although Ozzy Alonso obviously takes them up quite a bit. Cincinnati's second.
That was surprising to
26.9 is their average age. They have added a lot of veterans. Then you've got the Galaxy and the Sounders just behind it at 26.8. I actually am surprised the Galaxy's not older than that. They just feel like an old squad always.
They fill out their bottom of their roster with really young players, probably academy players.
Now, a young squad can have a good impact. It can have a bad impact. You've got possibly so much energy and pace and just enthusiasm to burn, but at the same time you've got maybe some inexperience factors, but then we've got guys like Henry, who's young but has 8 years experience.
Exactly.
Tybert, who's young, has 9 years experience.
Even Cornelius he's 21, and I think he's been in pro for 6 years or 5 years or something.
So
like
I don't
that.
know how much age really plays into it.
You also got to think like how, like I know you did the whole roster, but how old is the starting 11?
Well, that's the thing.
That's
as well.
the thing,
yeah.
right? Because
we have got some experienced guys in there. You've got Arise, you've got Martins, you've got Montero. So that's taking that up a bit. PC as well. Well, no, PC's young. But I mean, those three guys is going to bring that
Rose,
up.
I think, is over 24. He's 26.
Yeah, Rose is
a
bit older as well. Another aspect that Transfer Market did is now you can take some of the stuff in Transfer Market in terms of squad value and player value and transfer market value with a little bit of pinch of salt, because in MLS it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Because we don't operate like a lot of the rest of the world. But Transfer Market put together looking at MLS salary and squad value comparison. This might not surprise people. The Whitecaps were ranked dead last in terms of the squad value. The 26 players had a total market value of 14.63 million euros.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound a lot, especially when you look that Atlanta was 59.25 million euros. That's a big, big difference. 45 million euros difference.
Yeah, but I think that's what MDS is trying to do. He's trying to get people on the low and build them up into
and
something
hopefully
big.
That's what value.
Yeah, well, especially like the younger guys.
Yeah, at the end of the day, and I've said this before, it would be nice to have big money players come, guys that you know from around the league. It doesn't guarantee success, and you can have one big buck guy come in that gets injured early, and then you've lost that big bucks guy. Often when you bring in one or two high paid players and the rest aren't, it can sometimes affect a little bit of chemistry in the squad.
Yep.
You've got the likes of LA. They brought in Zlatan last season. They didn't make the playoffs. It doesn't guarantee success. We still may or may not have a designated player role to fill. We don't know what's happened with Fredy Montero. It hasn't been confirmed ahead of the roster freeze. March 1st.
March 1st, the day before, yeah.
Montero might be a DP. He might be a TAM player. If he isn't a DP, frees up a designated player spot, I can't see it getting filled right now.
No.
Do you feel we could make a big splash for a DP in the summer?
I think so. I think
what
they will.
position would that be then?
I think I mentioned it last week. I think it's going to be like a guy who can play striker and wing. Basically,
Johnny Russell.
Yeah, that would be an example of somebody. Like somebody that can play, like kind of rotate in and out of the three. I think that's what he really wants. I think the wing would probably be the most important, because if you got Montero and Ardiaz, well, I don't know how long Ardiaz is going to be here, but Montero for sure. And then you don't really want to upset that middle kind of area.
Yeah.
But you want you kind of want him as cover too for the striker positions, because if something happens to the top two, then you got Bear as your third, and you don't really want that. And
no.
I know Reyna's played as a false nine, but I prefer not that be. So I'd rather have somebody that can actually be that like the striker up top, and then maybe shift off to the wing once in a while.
I mean, right now, heading into first kick, this is what I feel is our full strength starting 11.
Yeah.
McMath in goal, backline of Nerwinski, Cornelius, Henry, and PC now. If we're looking at 4-3-3, you're looking at Arise as the 6 with Huang.
I don't think he's going to start.
No, but
eventually, yes,
full strength.
Yes,
if everyone's ready to go and everyone's up to their full levels, Huang and Martins as in that three midfield, with Reyna out left or right. Probably Venuto over Bangura, but that's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up, yeah.
And then Montero up front. It doesn't seem anyone else really pushing to get into that.
Well, I think they will rotate. I agree with you there.
Rotate, but that would be my full strength.
Yeah, starting 11 if you had to put everybody out there in one game and win it all. No, I agree with you there. There's not very much leeway. I do see like maybe possibly, depending on who they're playing, maybe a Tybert comes in for Felipe. But I like Huang and Arise as being the main two. My only issue is, though, Arise doesn't really have any cover at this point. I'm not sure how much they trust the young guys. Norman,
I guess you could have Rose there, but I don't know how dynamic and
I don't think
creative
Rose
he is.
I don't think Rose fits that role, though.
Hwang can play there. You could
Yes,
also
that's true.
put
That's a good point.
Martins back there, but it didn't
not
out,
Martins. I think
didn't work out great.
I think you want Hwang there more than you want
Yeah.
Martins. And then if you do that, then you could put Felipe and Tybert up top if you want. Yeah.
And Tybert has had his injuries this preseason as well, so he's kind of lost a bit of a step.
I don't think he's going to be ready for the opener either.
No, I don't think so. But that's all our Whitecaps chat for tonight's show. We're going to round this section off, but we're having another double wavelength. Last week we paid tribute to Gordon Banks, who had died. That was unexpected. I hadn't planned that because obviously no one knew he was going to die. But we had planned for this for tonight's episode. Tonight is the anniversary of Bobby Moore's death. Now, despite him being English, he is a West Ham legend. I'm a West Ham supporter. He did fantastic stuff for both West Ham and England. One of the saddest things in football for me, England winning the 1966 World Cup. But he did help West Ham win the 64 FA Cup and then win the Cup Winners' Cup as well in 65. So
the glory days.
West Ham legend. So we're going to have two wavelength songs in the show tonight to celebrate Bobby Moore on the anniversary of his death. This one is from 1983 from a band called Serious Drinking, and this is Bobby Moore Was Innocent.
In introducing this record, I would like to start first by stressing the qualities needed to be a good player. I believe that ability, dedication and enthusiasm are the three main things necessary to be a good player. These three qualities are absolutely necessary.
Serious Drinking there. They've featured on Wavelength before. From 1983 in their album The Revolution Starts at Closing Time. That was Bobby Moore Was Innocent.
Now, what was he innocent of?
He was accused of stealing a bracelet, some jewellery, in Bogota in Colombia. And folk thought, did he steal it? Was he set up? Was it just they're trying to throw England off their game there? He was never charged in the end, and that song was just citing that they believe he was fully innocent about it.
Yeah, so it's basically just to mess with him to see if they could get advantage.
Most probably. Let's hope so anyway. But that was a great song by Serious Drinking. We've got another Bobby Moore tribute song coming up in part 5. But we will be back with part 4, our MLS news of the week, and our Canadian Premier League news of the week after this.
Hey, I'm Brett Levis, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
She knows her mind all right, your Auntie Griselda. She says she knows my kind, she might maybe so. Oh yeah, she's raised you right, your Auntie Griselda. You only know the things she wants you to know. I know she's having a fit, she doesn't like me a bit. No bird of grace ever lit on Auntie Griselda. Can't begrudge her style, your Auntie Griselda. She couldn't budge a smile and do it for free. So righteous making fudge, your Auntie Griselda. So proper judging others over her teeth.
Auntie Griselda, the Monkees. Vocals from the late, great Peter Tork, who sadly passed away last week, aged 77. So many great Monkees songs. Some of my favourites. I love Not Your Stepping Stone.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's always been a favourite
I seem
of mine.
to... there's a Michael Nesmith one. What Am I Doing Here?
Yes.
I think that's
What
what
Am I Doing Hanging Round?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
I do like that one. I like a lot of Mickey Dolenz songs.
Yeah,
he really had
good vocals.
Yeah, and then Davy Jones had the Daydream Believer.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I love Head.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
The movie. Some really underrated songs in that. The Porpoise song is absolutely fantastic. If I ever decide to throw myself off a bridge, I think I'll have that playing in my Walkman or something, the Porpoise song.
Yeah.
Because in the movie,
I think they jumped off, right?
It's jumping
yeah.
off a bridge. But yeah, just a few good songs in that that just folk don't really talk about too much because it's a very, very weird film. I like it's known as Long Title. Let's get to our MLS news of the week. Don Garber. Now, we talked about Don Garber last week. He's just been extended to 2023 as MLS Commissioner. He had a very interesting chat with Grant Wall at SI.com. Excellent questions and follow-up questions from Grant as well. He didn't let him get away with stuff.
Was it audio? Or I didn't get it.
It was both.
Okay.
It was like a podcast and then did a slightly written thing as well.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of questions. One of the things which they talked about was the ambition of owners.
Yep.
And Don Garber was trying to say all the owners are the same. They all have the same ambition. They want to spend money and win in MLS. And Grant Wall was not letting that go. And he's like, there's no way you're telling me teams like Atlanta are on the same level as teams like, say, New England.
I know that's true.
Yeah. Obviously, New England's owners are going to
they're having other
need
issues.
their money for other things right now.
No.
6 Super Bowl rings and a prostitution ring, I think, was what.
Well, I don't think I think it's a misdemeanor, so it's not that major of a charge at this point. So, but I agree with you there that there's no way you can even. It's like, for example, obviously this year they might be different, but Columbus wasn't that high spending.
No.
FC Dallas seems to be selling off people now or trading. Or
FC Dallas, I genuinely think, are in trouble this year.
Yeah.
We've looked at some of this in our extra podcast. Part 2 of our Western Conference thing is coming out this week for all the extra podcast subscribers. We love you all. Thank you so much for that. But looking at some of the additions the teams have made, some of them have made very few additions, and you're looking at them and it doesn't seem like much improvement at all.
No.
RSL, I think, are going to be in trouble. Dallas are a team I think is going to be in trouble.
But the thing is, we don't like maybe some of their signings aren't as flashy, but like the Whitecaps, but they're getting guys that are on an upswing. Maybe that's what the whole model is going towards MLS. The haves will buy the most expensive player, and the have-nots will buy those players that are kind of got that potential and they could sell them off or something like that. Maybe that's the model that there'll be 2 different models in MLS now.
Maybe. Definitely recommend listening, though, to that chat that Grant Wall had with Garber. One of the other interesting things that came out of it was about the CBA, which we've talked about before.
We talked about last week.
Yeah. Like, Garber seems to feel that the players understand what the league are going to be wanting to do and says they've got a good relationship with the players and the players all buy into it. And Grant Wall said, are you going to go basically pleading poverty to them again?
Yeah.
He just came out and said that. Now, I hope the players aren't viewing things like that because they were ripped off with that last CBA.
The problem
it was
is
great for the older guys.
Yeah, no, even the older guys. Like we talked about, like some of those guys became free agents, but they couldn't actually sign big contracts because they had to.
Kamara, there's no point in him taking the free agency deal because he could get more by
getting traded. Yeah. And so I think even for them it wasn't that great. I don't know who it was even good for. The
pockets of the owners.
Obviously.
Talking about ambition, as we were with the owners there. One man who's very ambitious, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He said this week that he will break every MLS record this season. He scored against Colorado on Saturday in their last pre-season match, but the Galaxy still went down 3-1 after Kai Kamara got a goal and 2 from Diego Rubio. So even if he breaks the records, They still have to keep the ball out the net.
I'm assuming he's saying goal-scoring records, right?
He just said every MLS record.
Oh, is he going to play goal and get clean sheets or something?
Hey, this is Latin. He can do anything. I'm sure it was pretty much tongue-in-cheek, but he said that's what he's promising the LA faithful for this year. So that's going to be exciting to watch. If he doesn't turn up to places like BC Place, though, to play on the turf pitch, how's he going to break these records?
It's going to be difficult.
Maybe that's going to guarantee that he's coming.
There's about 4 or 5 pitches that are like that, yeah.
Well, and a lot of them are like in the West as well.
Yep.
So you've got Portland, you've got Seattle, you've got here. If he doesn't go to those games, that's possibly not only going to affect his record breaking, but it's going to affect the Galaxy's playoff hopes.
Oh, but they still have 3 DPs even if he doesn't show up.
Oh, that's true. They'll probably end up with 5, so it's going to be okay. Talking to Seattle, Garth Lagerwey warned Seattle fans this week not to expect, in his words, a splashy third DP level signing to go with Ladero and Rui Diaz. He did say, though, that their third DP would basically be their highest paid non-DP player, so their TAM guy.
Yeah.
That's the Whitecaps way. We did that. You could have argued we could have had about 8 DPs last year if we hadn't bought all these guys down with TAM.
So it's basically going to be a guy that might be over around 1.5, but they're not going to buy him down, so he's going to be actually a DP, yeah.
I don't know how the Seattle faithful will take that, though, especially if they have a bit of a struggling start. They haven't made any big flashy additions either. They've got Jordan Morris, though, coming back.
That's kind of an addition, yeah.
And it's going to feel like a new signing to them. I don't know. That's an interesting one with them. You feel they've got the quality that they can be maybe a top 4 team. Equally, I could see them get a bad start and struggling to make the top 7. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Out east, we talked about him last week, but Nani is now official. Left Sporting on a free.
And the thing is, I thought I saw somewhere that they weren't going to let Montero and Nani go at the same time.
Yeah,
but now it's happened. Yeah,
both on free transfers.
Nani, I thought he was older than he is, but I still don't think he's gonna. It's gonna be difficult. I think he's got quality for MLS level, but I think he's gonna break down as the season goes on more than Montero, because Montero knows how this league works.
Yeah, travel. Different kind of pitches, different kind of environments. I think his best days are behind him. This is maybe another example, we talked about this last week, of Orlando spending money, trying to buy themselves into the playoffs, and it didn't work last year. And if things go tits up with Nani, I don't know that they've got the rest of the players around him that can lift this team into the playoffs.
Definitely not. Well, they got Dwyer, I guess, but other than that, it's not very much.
Now, one player that has come back to MLS, a former Whitecap, Kekuta Mane, he talked about having other MLS offers, but he decided to go to Cincinnati because of Alan Koch. He said he was a man who knows what he's about, what he can do, that he feels he can lift the best out of him and get the best out of his game. I hope so, because part of me thinks this is maybe the last chance saloon for Mane in MLS, but then another part of me thinks he's kind of got this golden boy image, like Breck Shea, and teams will keep giving him chances over and over.
I think he'll be MLS for a long time. I think this is the last chance if he wants to ever go overseas.
He said the Swiss club didn't want to let him go, but at the same time, he said things weren't going great for him there.
I wonder what the other teams were that wanted him. I think Vancouver might have looked into him. They might have kicked some tires.
I don't know.
No?
I just don't,
because he kind of fit into that speedy winger. Like we always said, Kekuta Mane could play would be more dynamic in the middle, and the wingers are playing more inside a little.
I mean, he might work that way. It's just there's other aspects of him here, a little bit, not attitude, but
he seems like he's coming in with a different attitude because he's kind of failed a couple times.
Yeah, he maybe has realised that he isn't able to go and get this big money deal in Europe. Getting into the US national team's not a certainty for him. I think he'll do well in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird though when you look at Cincinnati's got Matix and Mane now though. It just feels strange.
Yeah. Speaking of expansion teams that will come out next year, I think. Yeah, next year. Nashville SC revealed their club colors. It's acoustic blue and electric gold.
Are those things?
Obviously they are.
Did they just put two words together?
No, there's was so many different colors. There's like multiple
acoustic
like,
purple. You could have easily said acoustic purple, and folk would just nod.
Oh, it kind of looked purple to me. I thought it was purple at first.
Yeah,
but I think that I don't mind the colors, but I when I first looked at their crest or whatever it's going to be, the N.
It's very strange.
I was wondering what that was, and then somebody said they might be headphones. Because they're kind of a musical
They're playing
thing.
up all the music thing, because obviously acoustic and electric guitars.
And there was like a lot of sounds going on.
Yep.
I thought they might call themselves the Sounders.
Hashtag band together.
Yeah.
Nashville Sounders.
Yeah, I thought they would. It's kind of because they have that kind of symbol, but I don't know.
The Nashville Trumpeteers.
Yeah. No, well, they'll be Nashville SC.
Get Honky Tonk, come on, along.
Oh, yeah.
Supporting them or something like that.
Jeff Jarrett.
I like that they've gone with Nashville SC. I can't even say it, but I like that they've gone with Nashville SC. I don't know. It's
the band together seems weird.
Yeah.
I guess they're really playing up the music stuff.
Maybe they'll play "Listen to the Band" by Mike Nesmith. Another one of my favourite Bunky songs. The Champions League got underway.
Wasn't that great?
Didn't get to see much of it because it's hard to watch in Canada.
You got to see the TFC game though.
Oh, was that on TV here?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I didn't actually.
It was on
TSN. Know that.
The TSN had
Oh,
it.
the rest of it you didn't really get to see anything.
Oh, it was a thumping Toronto.
Joyful. Now, folk are going to say it's because Javinko went, but if you disintegrate that much from one player leaving, your squad building leaves a lot to be desired.
No, it's Javinko, Vasquez, and then they didn't have Altidore playing either. That's three players, bigger players missing. But I still don't think they should have. But they all had I think they had the most of their defenders, if I'm not mistaken, and that's what
it wasn't a weak. Well, obviously it was a weak TFC team, but is this a sign of the things to come this season for TFC?
Initially, for sure. I think they'll
didn't
have
make the playoffs
start.
last year. They blamed that on the Champions League, or have they been like, yeah, we want to make the playoffs this year, so screw the Champions League. Let's just not bother with it.
And I think it'll be tough. They're still in talks with the guy. The guy from Belgium who's I can't remember what Spanish midfielder from Belgium. He's playing in Belgium right now. I can't remember his name. It's a stranger, but they're still in talks with him. So that hasn't even progressed close to a signing yet. So they're still waiting on him. He probably would be the Javinko replacement. But then you still
fans. I mean, we talk about fans here be patient. Well, fans there be patient. They're used to success now.
Yeah, their Ricketts replacement Terrence Boyd skied a penalty over the bar. So
the dynasty is over. And now that missed penalty could be crucial, because if it was 4-1, 3 goals at home with an away goal, that's doable.
Yeah.
4 goals at home just to take it to extra time.
That's hard.
The Panamanians just need to get 1, and then that's definitely lights out.
Yeah. It didn't go well for Atlanta either.
No, this was maybe even a bigger shock, really. 3-1 down to Costa Rican side Herediano. That away goal, though, I think will be big.
I could see them easily beating them 2-0 at home.
Yeah, you have to feel they're going to have enough to get through.
Kansas City won, I think, their game 3-0 against I can't remember. It was a Mexican side, but was it Toluca?
Toluca, yeah.
Yeah. So they beat them 3-0.
So they're looking good. Now, finally, in our MLS news, something that I know we like to keep track of. We've joked about it.
Yeah.
The latest going rate for trades of assets. Now, the latest one, DC traded with Portland, receiving an international spot, giving up 100,000 in 2019 TAM and 50,000 in 2020 GAM. So that's your that is the current going rate.
I believe that's 175 because it's the 2-1 for GAM to TAM.
Oh yeah.
So it's 175, which is the same what I think Montreal paid. Who was it? Cincinnati? No, Columbus. They paid Columbus. Yeah. So it's kind of similar to that what they had there.
Always fun to see these bizarre trades. I just don't know why they don't make it easier.
Well, we asked Greg Anderson, and they said some people within MLS, kind of do want a simple thing and eliminate
everyone can see what everyone's got.
Yeah. Well, no, that's true. But no,
spreadsheet.
I asked him that. Is there some people? Is there talks that to get away with this, get rid of this gam and tam, and just have a simple, straightforward, set cap, and you just play under there, and you could do the DP still, but you don't have to do all this tam and gap. He said, yes, some people do want that.
You have to feel the bigger clubs would, and it would be the lower spenders that might kind of struggle a little bit. Moving on to CPL news. We have fixtures, as in plural.
Not full season, though.
No. That's coming this week.
Yeah.
Every team's home opener has been announced. The big one for us, Pacific FC, kicking things off against Halifax Wanderers. Sunday, April 28th, 4 o'clock kickoff. Caps playing the 27th, so excellent to have this on the Sunday. I'm thinking of going over for it. Don't know if you fancy a little day trip before the show.
Yeah.
Zach's talking about going over as well.
I just hope we get a good ferry ride.
Yeah, that's my worry, that we go over for it and then we can't get back over or something. But it should be a fantastic occasion. I'm really looking forward to it. Only 4 of the 7 teams, though, are going to be in action that opening weekend. We already knew about the Forge York game, and now the second game on that opening weekend is Pacific versus Halifax. Why would you only have 4 of your teams in action?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
That's just bizarre.
Like, I thought they would have started on Friday with the first game, do
Friday,
the second game Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, why not do that? And then
you've got 6 of your teams in action. One obviously would have to have sat out anyway. I don't know. That's just very, very weird to me. Or at least have 2 on the Sunday. Yeah, you don't want to have 2 on the Saturday because it's the historic league opener. Have 2 on the Sunday, one in the East, one in the West.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it just
maybe stadiums weren't available. I really wish they had that.
I really wish they had that 8th team. It just make everything so much more simple.
It would have been. It's just weird. The full schedule is coming out this week. I was thinking it wasn't ideal with 2 months ago that we didn't have it, but then I kind of started thinking, you know what? The MLS schedule came out with just under 2 months to go because it's starting earlier this year. So everyone's just eager to see it.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's late and coming out, but really it isn't.
Everybody wants to just set their schedule of people who want to travel and everything.
Yeah.
So that they're antsy about that.
Everyone's a bit impatient about it. Then the big announcement, watched it in my lunch hour earlier this week, the Media Pro deal. 10-year deal with Media Pro for broadcasting rights and production. I've got to say, I feel this was one of the worst ever announcement streams I've ever watched.
Just the stream itself.
Yeah, in terms of the first 10 minutes of it, I had no idea what the hell was going on. I hadn't read the press release.
No, but I read I think it was the press release or the article like went with it, and I wasn't 100% sure even with that, like what was going on.
Then they played what felt like a 40-minute video. It wasn't, but it felt like a 40-minute video focusing on how they prepared for the El Clasico game in La Liga, and I'm like, is Pacific playing Barcelona and Real Madrid in a friendly?
I think they just wanted to show how they set it up. So
I have no interest in Spanish football whatsoever. I turned it off. I was bored shitless by that.
No, I think what they wanted to show the quality how they're going to produce the thing, so people can see how it is.
Bizarre.
I know.
It was just.
It is a 10-year deal, though.
Yeah, I still don't fully understand it. I've read a couple of articles and.
Well, what media? I think Media Pro. They're. It's almost like an extension of some now. Like they'll be doing the media for CPL. So basically, they're going to be finding different platforms. I think they'll actually more do the OTT platforms, which is like digital, desktop, other devices and stuff like that. So I think they'll be doing that, and then they'll be licensing out the TV, the regular TV ones, to like TSN.
We might see one game a week on one of the big players.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a specific channel that we can pay to watch the other games on.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah.
See, that's what I didn't get.
I don't know how big a demand there is for a specific pay channel. But Media Pro are tied in with beIN. They own beIN Sports. So hopefully it ends up in beIN, which will mean it's on DAZN, and then everyone will be happy that's got that.
Yeah.
Me, basically. I just want to be able to see it free or as part of something that I already pay for. Great aspect of it, though, is it gives stability to the league because they've signed a 10-year deal, and it's a big money deal. So the early worries that financially the league might not be stable, I think are kind of put aside a little bit.
Yeah,
now.
for sure. And the thing is, they liked it because I think they've said that there's only usually a 2-3 year deal when most times, and this is the first time they've ever had 10 years, so they can kind of grow it.
There were some more player signings announced this week. The biggest one, from our point of view, Marcel de Jong officially unveiled at Pacific FC, one of the worst kept secrets. Everyone knew it was coming. Still so many players, though, that some teams have to add. Forge only have 8 players signed.
And they're kicking off the team.
Yeah. Edmonton and York nearly have their full rosters. They're on 18. Cavalry and Halifax have 15. Valor have 12, but Pacific just have 11. So a wild variance there. It's just...
The roster's going to be like 23, right? Am I mistaken?
That was 20 to 23 was the figures that were getting thrown out. And it looks like Halifax are making another international announcement as well this week, so that'll take them up to 16. Pacific FC had a meet and greet this week, which went down really well. It was confirmed that they're going to kick their pre-season off on Friday, March 1st. They're going to be training in Victoria. There's going to be a camp in Tofino and an international trip, which we've heard from a couple of people now. It looks like all the teams might be going to Dominica.
All the CPL teams? Oh, wow.
As a little pre-season jaunt. Now, that's nice.
That's not bad.
I might even consider that myself. Or Tofino. One or the other. Very similar places. And
Tofino's really nice.
Pacific FC are going to have some games lined up against some local sides as well, so I'd love them to play some games over here just from a selfish point of view, but obviously that doesn't make too much sense. So 2 months to go, or about 2 months to go till the CPL season kicks off. How are you feeling about everything right now?
I'm still cautious. Like, I know there's like a lot of months to go. They'll be bringing in players. Maybe they're just trying to figure out who they can bring in. They don't have a transfer window either, I think, at this point, do they? Or I don't recall any transfer window for the. Maybe
this is where we needed Zach here.
Yeah,
he's listening. He can let us know.
But kind of cautious. I like the Media Pro, even though I didn't understand it right away. I like the Media Pro announcement. At least they have that thing going. I know they want to. The reason why we're not getting announcements all at once, or we're not finding out everything, because they kind of got to roll it out, so they can kind of stay in everybody's ears and in front of everybody's eyes on the screen and everything. So they kind of want to stay relevant, and if they announce everything at once, then people are going to forget about them, and there won't be any kind of articles on them.
Yeah,
they want to stay relevant.
That's true. It's like dripping it out fantastically, but at the same time, folk are just impatient, and I'm still excited by it. I still have some concerns about the quality and whether they're going to get the numbers that they want as the season goes on, especially if teams are maybe struggling. Is your casual soccer watcher going to spend their summer going to these games? That's one of the big questions, and we'll get that answered soon enough. But that is it for this part. We will be back with our final part of tonight's show after this.
Hi, I'm Marcel de Jong, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
So you got away, something brought you back to the kid that you were for a couple days. Everything you lacked, you possessed, it was yours. Started slow, started late, started strong, then we lost faith. Started slow, started to lose control. The more we accelerate, with your hollow eyes, you keep coming back. It begins to transform. Can you spend the night? Can you be the raft in the...
Metric there. I need to listen to them more. Every time I hear Metric songs, I really love them.
I think this is a new release.
I think they did Monster Hospital as well, which was a great song. I was a Canadian, but I'm pretty sure it was Metric.
I just not discovered them, but I learned of them. What was it? Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh,
they had that song.
That's a great film.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that for
the one
years.
that Brie Larson played in the with her vegan boyfriend. And that was the one I heard the first time. I found it was Metric that played it, and I actually liked their version better.
Yeah, definitely to play some more of them on the show. You are listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM, the only soccer show on Vancouver radio. at least till Tuesday, when Sportsnet starts their one with JJ Adams and Dan Riccio. We'll still be the longest running soccer show on Vancouver radio and the only soccer show on FM radio.
Yeah. Depending on how long their show is, maybe the only one that's 2 hours.
Yes. Or in our case, 2 hours.
And then
whatever we end up going over, which I'm pretty sure we're going to do tonight as well. But a couple of just housekeeping things. We've had some messages in. Zach has sent us a couple of texts. CPL do have a transfer window. 2 of them, in fact. He hasn't got the dates at hand, but they do have transfer windows. I thought I'd read that, but I wasn't 100% certain.
Yeah.
Angus Walker, he went back to our Whitecaps coffee and tea things, and I don't know how we forgot this. Red rose tea for Andy Rose.
That makes sense.
Yes. Fantastic. Anyway, now it's time for our second of our Wavelength songs tonight, and our second song paying tribute to Bobby Moore, who died on this day in 1993. This is a song by a band that's featured a lot in Wavelength, The Business. This is from their 1994 album Keep the Faith, and this is Viva Bobby Moore.
Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, viva, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, Bobby Moore's football machine. Everybody knew they'd seen a sensation. A sensation. Hear what I say now. Bobby Moore's football machine. Everybody knew they'd seen a sensation. A sensation. Hear what I say now. West Ham to England's Wembley. They knew he might just maybe turn into the best they'd ever knew. Taught people how to play the football game, including Pele. Said that he was the best he'd ever seen. Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, viva, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, viva, viva Bobby Moore. Viva. Number 6 was all he knew. He was the best in red, white and blue. Turned out to be the captain of the crew. Beckenbauer would look in awe. You say me, oh, he could not score. A sensation. A sensation. Hear what I say now. Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, viva, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore. Viva, viva, viva Bobby Moore. Viva. Bobby Moore, Bobby Moore, viva Bobby Moore, viva,
Viva Bobby Moore, indeed. R.I.P. Bobby Moore.
The Business, was this on behalf of West Ham, this song? Or
no, just more from the England aspect of it, because he was big for them. If anyone hasn't seen it's a 3-part drama series called Tina and Bobby. It's just a kind of biopic.
Oh, really?
Made for TV biopic in the UK, just charting his life and career and his long-term marriage with his wife Tina. Fantastic viewing, 3-part series by ITV. Check that out. Something else to check out is bcsoccerweb.com, which means it's time now for BC Soccer Web headlines. And BC Soccer Web Headlines is brought to you in partnership with bcsoccerweb.com, your one-stop site for local, national and international news, stories, links and a lot more beside. Make it part of your daily routine, morning and night. Check out bcsoccerweb.com. What was catching your eye in the site this week, Steve?
A couple of things. We have a couple of follow-ups. IFAB.
You are fab, Steve, because you picked me up tonight.
IFAB, which deals with the rules of football and everything like that. We talked about them before, that they were looking into to the handball rule, except the away goal rule and stuff like that. They've announced that they are going to be clarifying the handball definition next week. They are going to clarify it basically to kind of take out reduce the gray areas that they
hope.
Yeah, well,
even when they do clarify stuff, it's like there's still. Anyway.
The group's technical director, Dave Elleray, said that the new text will clarify those situations where players can expect contact with the arms to be penalized and where they can expect not to be penalized. It will significantly reduce the gray areas around handball, and we will be identifying those areas where non-deliberate contact will be penalized and where it won't be. It's obviously, still deliberate handball will be penalized, so that's still going to be happening, but they're talking about non-deliberate. Where
every week you see games and you're like, how's that not a handball, or how was that a handball? And I don't know.
Some news from Singapore. A player who's actually signed, a Singapore international, was signed with Fulham, is missing his compulsory military service, something that Huang and Baum was able to get out.
Yeah, a lot of countries. Well, so Huang did his 6 months and then he was released from it.
Well, because he won the gold medal.
Yeah.
And Ben Davis is facing now up to 3 years of prison and fines as well. Only a handful of people have met the criteria of deferment, including a swimmer who won gold at 2016 Olympics, the first ever. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there is a way to get out.
He should have joined a better club than Fulham.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think he has to win something with Singapore in order to do it, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's not going to happen.
He has to bring glory to the country in order to get out of military service.
He joined Fulham. That's glory. It's in the Premier League.
I agree with that, though.
I mean, top flight football.
I don't think there's very
player.
Yeah, I don't think there's very many Singapore players out there that making it. Manchester City is going to be adding a third-tier Chinese club to their global portfolio. At this point, if Zach was here, we would have heard a murmur. He's not a big fan of this. They purchased a third-tier.
I'm not either.
Sichuan Jinhui, and it's basically this is going to be addition to the clubs, obviously in New York, New York City FC, Australia, Japan, Spain, and Uruguay. And
I didn't know that. I knew about New York and Australia. I'm not 100% sure I knew about the others.
I didn't even. I didn't know about them either, but I didn't look them up. Unfortunately, I'll look them up for next week, and we'll do a follow up on that. But the article said that I didn't realize they had so many clubs. Maybe they're lower level clubs, and so they're not as prominent like this third tier team. But it's
a way to move players about, or it can be used as a mechanism for moving players about and getting out with certain areas and transfer fees and stuff.
Exactly. Like, for example, that Romanian guy who's going to be coming here, he could be it could be like a stepping stone for him to go to the main club. North American soccer, we talked about Carlos Cordero last week.
Yeah, you revealed almost breaking news.
Well, yeah, because luckily it was on I saw it that day.
Well, actually, one of the one of the Man City teams is Girona in Spain. That's where Zach Steffen might be going on loan.
Oh, really? Okay. CONCACAF is actually rejecting Carlos Cordero's comments of last week, saying the future of the Gold Cup is in doubt. In a release, they said they want to clarify that it's fully committed to CONCACAF Gold Cup and confirms that 2019, 2021, which we said last week, but they also added 2023 editions are part of the FIFA calendar. Additionally, once the new FIFA calendar is produced after 2023, CONCACAF will continue organization of the pinnacle event of their confederation. So
I genuinely don't have any problems if it stops, but I'm not from round here, so I don't know how much people are attached to it. I genuinely don't think they are.
I think the problem is that the reason why maybe not people are attached to it is because it's always been played in the US.
Yeah.
And that could be it. Like, that's why nobody... But I think other CONCACAF countries will play in it no matter what. And a lot of those countries, we talked about Canada, might not even make the joint tournament that they're talking about unless they add way more teams. We talked about Media Pro for the CPL. Disney's sports streaming platform is adding third-tier soccer to its North America portfolio. It's basically whoever they signed their contract with, they're like the middleman. I can't remember who the company was, but they got them on ESPN Plus. And now, essentially, more than 700 live games across the USL Championship and USL League One will be played. Played on that platform.
If only they can add USL League 2, and then my commentary will be on ESPN Plus.
It might
Let's
be
push
down
for that.
Might be down the road. You never know. Liga MX president interested in North American League with MLS. We talked about this again before too, but this is Santos Laguna Alejandro Iragori. Says, for me, the similarities that Mexico has with the North, the United States, are greater than towards the South, which I'm assuming is South America or Central America. And I'm a loyal believer that we should consolidate our alliance with MLS and make really a strong league that compete with Asia and Europe or anywhere. That, I know it's just one president, but I think there are other presidents that are interested in that. In Liga MX. I don't know how interested MLS is, because they want to put like 28 teams. How big is this league going to be, or is there going to be relegation at that point?
Then you'd be looking at tiers, you'd be looking at promotion, relegation.
Yeah.
That aspect appeals. Playing some top Mexican teams appeals.
But what if like, I don't know how quality is top to bottom for Liga MX. Is it going to be like, if it's a 20-league team, is it going to be 15 Mexican teams and only 5 North American teams or something like that? Because I don't know if MLS wants that then.
Would the American teams struggle at free kicks? Could they build a wall?
Don't know. Indy 11, again, another article we talked about last week. Their deal that they want to build a stadium, but there's a couple of tie-ins that the government has put in there. They need to come up with 20% of their of the cost, which is about $150 million, and the team has to be MLS. So they have to be guaranteed an MLS expansion team. And with so many spots, unless they're going to expand to 32, or like Zach was talking about last week, I don't know if that's going to happen.
It doesn't jump out as a destination. They should join the CPL. Then we could have Indy 11 against York 9.
Yeah. Some news from Canada. Canada's Soccer Hall of Fame is going to be inducting players, past Canadian players from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. 12 players are going to be inducted into the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame on March 24th, which is the friendly, which is Canada. You got Jim Blundell and Gary Stevens from Firefighters FC, Bobby Smith and Gino Vazeler of Columbus FC will be joined by Regina's Jim Blundell on that day. They're the only 5 surviving members of that group. Posthumously will be inducted Harry Phillips from Toronto, Bill Gill from Montreal, Frank Ambler, Eddie Back, Don Matheson, Bobby Newbold, and Jackie Wendt from Vancouver.
Yeah, from reading a little bit of the stuff that was sent out and just stuff that I've read before, the battles between Firefighters and FC and Columbus FC in the 40s and 50s and 60s, it was just epic in local football circles. And both teams still survive today in various sort of incarnations.
And the thing is, if you look at it here, only 3 of these guys are from outside of Vancouver area, which tells you how strong Vancouver soccer was back in the day, like how much they contributed.
Oh, it was.
And it's
you even have to just look at the 86 Canadian World Cup team, how many were like BC
and it's just gone downhill. And, well, I don't know if it's gone downhill, but maybe some people...
It seems to have.
Well, Ontario's definitely surpassed, for sure.
Edmonton as well. Look how many players they produce.
Well, they got talking about the Canadian national team, they got a boost. Former Portuguese midfielder Stefan Estuquio. I'm not sure if you got that right.
I was reading that going, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, he's committed to playing for Canada now. He's currently playing for Cruz Azul, but was hurt in his debut and is kind of out for the year. So he won't be returning to action until September. But he has switched to the national team after getting 7 caps with the U21 Portugal side. He moved to Portugal when he was 11, but did attend a U17 camp for Canada as a 15-year-old. He plays the DM role, like the John Arisi, number 6 role, but he's able to slide up. And Herdman was talking about that he could kind of take over for Atiba Hutchinson when he moves on, because Atiba looks like he can play forever, but eventually he's going to have to stop playing.
Yeah, great. Another player joining the Canadian program, building such a good pool of players.
And the thing is, with Transfer Market, we were talking about that before, right? They have evaluation of all the Canadian players as well. He would basically be tied for third in the evaluation behind Alphonso Davies and Junior Hoylett.
Wow.
So I think he's tied with...
partly, I guess, though, because he's playing in Liga MX.
Borjan is the other guy who's the same rate as similar, and Lucas Cavallini is the other one.
Wow.
So those that's interesting. That's a big boost if you think of it that way.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. So last bit of news here on the Canada side. Looks like there was a parent story that came out that Alphonso Davies was not good enough for the first team, and he was going to be dropped to the U23s. It came out like through who's it? Peter Galindo had an article on Sportsnet.
Yeah, it was on Build, I think.
Well, that was the original.
Build, originally, yeah.
And then the Bayern Munich Sports SB Nation group, they kind of put it up, and then Peter
Bavarian football blog or something.
Yeah,
had
and then
it
Peter
as well.
Galindo from Sportsnet kind of linked to that. The problem is that if you look at the original article, there is no mention of they heard it from somebody. Like there's no sources or anything like that. They're just assuming because he was dropped to U23 that now he's not good enough.
Yeah.
And the thing is luckily for us, Manuel
Veth.
Yeah,
he's over in Germany at the moment.
Yeah,
he does great stuff.
I think he actually talked to the coach or something. I didn't read the article because it came out just as we were coming over.
Yeah, I know. I haven't had a chance to read it. I just saw the basic folk talking about it. But yeah,
but it's been kind of debunked. Yeah, they said that he just wanted him to get some playing time because
which is what we expected when he went over. We expected he would see a lot of time in the under-23s at first.
Yeah, and the concern was that because they said, he's too good he's better than all the U23s.
He was on the bench for the match on Saturday. If he wasn't good enough, he wouldn't be making the game day squad.
Exactly. And they were thinking, because Kingsley Coleman's injured and Ribery was out, then why didn't he get in then if he was so good? And it's just a lot of people... the Blind article is just lazy journalism for me. It's like... And then the fact that the Bayern Munich SB Nation... Like, Peter's just assuming that the thing... But you got to double checking it. Luckily, Manuel was able to debunk it quickly because people were having heart attacks or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing is, they didn't want anybody loaned out. Like he was assured he was going to be loaned out, but nothing about dropping to U23.
No, I mean I expected that. Yeah. Anyway, who cares? We've got the money now.
Yeah.
That is it though for this week's show. Thank you everyone for listening at home, in the car, wherever you are. Just before we go, let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
I'm Michael McCaw. You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada, on Instagram at AFTN Soccer. Leave us a review and a rating on iTunes. That would be fantastic. And give us a follow on YouTube. AFTN Canada is our YouTube channel. Follow and subscribe. Read all our stuff as well on Away From The Numbers, aftn.ca. We've got a busy week coming up on the site. Lots of stuff coming up for this season opener and other things as well. And our preview podcast will be back this week. Looking forward to the Minnesota game. But until next week, thank you for listening. Enjoy the home opener that's coming up at this weekend. We will be back next Sunday with a special episode because it's part of CITR's Fund Drive.
Yes.
More information about that will be on the website and we'll talk about it on next week's show. Until then, take care and mon the Caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
10 minutes left. Yeah.